met 33 years ago. We met at Kelowna Shipyard, and he was a first-class insulator, and I was a third-class insulator, and I was in the apprentice program. And our supervisor had paired us together because he's supposed to train me how to insulate. So me and Joe worked side by side for days, for weeks, and said, "Why are you working the shipyard? You don't look like shipyard material." So I said, I just got divorced from my first husband, and I had to take care of 2 kids. I had 2 young kids. I tell you what, you just sit back, I do the work. You just sit back. Why don't you go get us some snacks? So he asked me to go buy him a Snicker bar. I said, okay. I said, well, give me the money. He said, you got it. You got it. I said, oh, yeah? I said, I'm looking at him. He started smiling at me, right? He didn't say nothing. He just smiled. And I'll never forget that smile. It was the sexiest smile I had seen in a long time. And he had a missing tooth. I could see him smiling today. He had a missing tooth. And anyway, I went on board that Snicker bar. And after that, our relationship we started off being friends first. And then later we got serious. And he asked me to marry him. And he said he wanted to get married on the first day of the year, New Year's Day. And I said, why New Year's Day? Everything is closed. He said, because he'll never forget our anniversary. And I thought that was so special, So he managed with the city of Norfolk to go to the magistrate's home on a Sunday. And it was a little old couple. And they were like 4 feet tall. But it was so romantic. And I'll never forget that. The years went by. Marriages, we have our ups and downs, and Joe was going through his PTSD syndrome, and I didn't understand what was going on, but we managed to get through it. I was diagnosed with lung cancer and colon cancer, and this is how, God worked. God put Joe in my life. Joe was there to take care of me. He bathed me, he cleaned me up. I had a colostomy bag, he would take care of that, and he cooked for me, and I just thank God for his life. I thank God how he, we met in our marriage.
What do you love the most about Joe?
His jokes, okay? He had jokes. People love to hear him tell his jokes. He like back in the day, we would be playing cards, and he was just telling jokes, and people would just laugh, and he made people happy and everything. And I have a cousin in Connecticut that named Linda. She would come all the way from Connecticut to Virginia to hear Joe jokes, and she said because he was her therapy, and I thought that was so beautiful, so special. He had great life lessons. Business before pleasure. Him and I would get paid every Friday from the shipyard. He said, okay, now we're going to pay our bills, let's pay the rent, get it out of the way, utilities, and then we're going to do what we're going to do. So, I said, you're just like my daddy. My daddy told me that, and, when I was in college and being wild, and, I just thank God for Joe. Not only he was my husband, but he was my mentor.
So Joe served in the Marines. Can you tell us about his service?
He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in the year 1966. He was only 17 years old at the time. He had to be 18. His grandmother had to sign for him. So he didn't want to stay in the country. He wanted to get away, from Wadesboro, North Carolina, and see the world. And he went to Vietnam, and it was a war going on. And that's where Joe was wounded. And this is his Purple Heart. I'm so proud of him. He was so proud of this, but this is the Purple Heart he received because he was wounded. And I want to share a little story with y'all what happened. Joe told me bits and pieces of it, and then the doctor from the VA had filled me in on the rest of it. But Joe said that his platoon was hiding in the dugout. The Vietnamese threw a grenade inside the dugout, and it exploded. Joe said it was like a nightmare. He saw blood everywhere. Everybody was dead, so he played dead. So when things kind of quiet down, and he said that's when he got out, he started to climb out the hole. And when he started to move, he saw another guy was moving. So both of them took off running out the dugout hole. And that's when the Vietnamese saw them, and they got shot. Joe was shot in the back of his leg, in the back of his thigh. He still had that hole in his thigh. He walked with a cane. By the grace of God, he survived. Him and that guy survived. And I always tell him, I say, Joe, you are a living witness to God's promises. God said he would never leave you nor forsake you. And God, kept him alive. Joe had a purpose in his life. And I just want everybody to know about him as a veteran. I always tell him he would always be my veteran. He's my hero. And this pillow right here, his cousin gave to him. It's the all gave some, and some gave all. Joe gave his life. He was young, and he suffered with PTSD from all of that. And, you know, I'm just so proud of him. He went to a school that I was teaching at, and my first lady, she's the principal there, and she wanted Joe to come speak at her school, at-risk school for young teens, and, you know, 'cause they was in there for murder, but they was too young to go to, the big jail, so he was in the little jail, the teenage jail. So anyway, Joe spoke to them, and I was so proud of him, and he told them that things may look bad now, but, you know, stay focused and try to be your best, stay out of trouble. He said because he'd been through war, and he shared to them what he went through in the war. So I thank God for that. He is my hero. I want Joe to be remembered as, one thing, he was a family man. He loved his family. I did have pictures of his brothers. You know, he had two sisters too, one deceased, but he loved his sisters, his family, his daughter Tia. You know, every time he talked to Tia, he just smiled. He raised my two children, you know, his granddaughters, and I just want him to be remembered as a family man. Also, Joe was a man of his word. He would not bite his tongue. He spoke his mind. Sometimes it was mean. He said it in a way it was mean, you know, but I knew what he meant, but sometimes people didn't understand. But it would be mean sometimes, and I would always tell him, I said, Joe, just be a little nicer, you know, but he spoke. And I also want people to remember Joe, that he loved his church family, and he had a heart of giving. This is my pastor. This is Bobby, our piano player, and Bobby didn't have a way to church to come play. Joe gave him his car, and Joe bought him another car, but he had a heart to help Bobby. So I just thank God for Joe's life and his giving heart, and I just want y'all to know that I will always love him. I will cherish our life together and the memory we have. And I just want to thank you all for celebrating Joe's life.